Are you feeling overwhelmed, stressed out and frustrated in your work environment? Do you feel like the office culture is toxic, and that morale within the team is low? You might be experiencing a toxic work environment. In this video, we'll discuss some of the telltale signs of a toxic workplace, and how to handle them. What is a toxic work environment? A toxic work environment is one where employees become unmotivated, discouraged or harmed by the company's culture. This type of workplace can negatively impact an individual's mental and physical health, resulting in lowered productivity and toxic behavior being accepted as the norm. Toxic work environments are often characterized by unfair competition, questionable ethical practices, non-existent or toxic management, lack of resources and necessary support, amongst other issues. Unhealthy tension based on power dynamics between certain departments is also a common symptom of toxic work environments. For individuals experiencing toxic work conditions, it can be challenging to deal with the pressures without proper support from the company and colleagues alike. What are the signs of a toxic workplace? Poor boundaries and interpersonal dynamics. One of the clearest signs of a toxic work environment is poor boundaries and interpersonal dynamics. In these kinds of toxic settings, boundaries are either explicit or assumed. They're often not communicated in an effective way that respects everyone involved. This can lead to workers feeling disregarded, unvalued, and easily taken advantage of. Without clear workplace boundaries, employees can become overwhelmed and stressed, leading to an atmosphere that's inaccurate and toxic instead of encouraging productivity. Unclear communication. Unclear communication is one of the key signs of a toxic work environment and can hinder productivity, team morale, and even business success as a whole. Clarity in communication is essential in any workplace. It helps create an atmosphere of trust, allows for ideas to be exchanged efficiently, and encourages collaboration. While it may not always be easy, creating an environment where all individuals have the freedom to ask questions and request clarification is an important step towards fostering relationships and diminishing unnecessary toxic energy. Making clear expectations for employees can ensure that everyone understands their task list and goals, thus leading to improved performance through increased motivation and job satisfaction. Building an open culture with strong lines of communication ultimately results in better outcomes for individuals and businesses alike. Negative or inconsistent feedback. Negative or inconsistent feedback can be a telltale sign of a toxic work environment. Feedback is meant to give us insight into our performance, as well as help us understand how we can improve and better ourselves. Without constructive feedback in the workplace, employees become demotivated and lack the direction needed to progress. This can lead to lower morale, absenteeism, and reduced productivity, all factors that contribute to a toxic work environment with only one result: failure. Micromanagement and control issues. Working in a toxic environment can take a heavy toll on an employee's mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Micromanagement and control issues are a strong indicator that this is the case, and it's important to recognize the signs early so steps can be taken to protect everyone involved. Unfortunately, toxic work environments can be hard to spot at first. Stress can at times be confused with motivation and undue pressure with ambition. Mistakes are punished. Working in a toxic work environment doesn't just feel bad, it affects your productivity, well-being and overall success. Not only do toxic workplaces have the tendency to shame you for your mistakes, but they can also make it much harder to learn from them and develop important skills. It's important to recognize toxic behaviors within your workplace so that you can make changes that will encourage growth and learning, instead of punishing mistakes. Mistakes are human, it's how we learn, grow and improve. There is no respect for work-life balance. Working hard should be rewarded in any job, but a toxic workplace culture is one where employees are made to put work before everything else. There is no respect for work-life balance, leading to situations of burnout, stress, and resentment within the workplace. This toxic mentality can quickly become toxic behavior that is detrimental to everyone involved. Respect for work-life balance should be taken seriously, and it is often an indication of a toxic environment when it is dismissed or overlooked. No investment in employee growth and development. A toxic workplace can often be identified by the lack of investment in employee growth and development. If a company does not place value in their employees as individuals, taking time to invest in them as professionals, it's a clear sign of an unhealthy work environment. This type of workspace won't only hinder career progression, but it also demonstrates a disregard for individual efforts, rendering team morale low. People are unmotivated and turnover is high. It's important to recognize when a toxic workplace is causing employees to be unmotivated and turnover rate to increase. It could be the result of poor management, ineffective communication, or negative workplace culture putting the well-being of the employees in jeopardy. Discrimination or harassment in the workplace. Working in an environment that tolerates discrimination or harassment is a sign of a toxic work atmosphere. Not only is this conduct wrong, it can also be legally actionable, leading to costly consequences for employers. How do you deal with a toxic environment? Navigating a toxic work environment is never easy, but there are actions you can take to protect your professional and mental health. Traversing the turbulent waters of a toxic workplace can be daunting and overwhelming. Here are some strategies to help you navigate a toxic workplace. Consider your options. At the end of the day, you're left with two options: to stay and manage through this toxic situation or get out as quickly as possible. However, it isn't always that clear-cut. There may be compelling reasons why you are unable to depart hastily, or at all, such as financial constraints or immigration matters. Additionally, depending on your industry and location, other possibilities might not exist either. If you work in an industry that hasn't quite embraced remote working yet, the possibility of finding a company that offers it as part of its benefits could be appealing. Likewise, if your household budget relies on a generous childcare stipend or other benefits, this might make any decision more difficult. Reclaim your agency. It's not your fault if you find yourself in a toxic work environment, but experts suggest that remembering and reclaiming your power can help. Consider looking within and asking questions such as, when faced with negative attitudes, how can I react to ensure the situation shifts for the better? What obstacles am I facing that keep me from simply walking away? How do I handle toxic behaviors so that they no longer affect my life and well-being? Experts also recommend going to therapy to understand the impact a toxic workplace has had on you, and how you can better protect yourself in such situations in the future. Through self-reflection and therapy, we can gain greater insight into ourselves, an invaluable tool that will support us when facing difficult times. Address the issue directly. If you are considering staying in your current position, identify the source of toxicity, be it a manager or an entire team. To ensure a successful resolution, it is recommended to engage in what experts refer to as a clearing conversation, and provide constructive feedback. This should be a separate meeting from any regular one-on-ones, with all participants required to agree to the agenda before it begins. This solution is not meant to be long-term, but it can offer helpful and necessary relief while you strategize a better plan. Keep in mind that this fix is intended for one individual or team rather than the company's whole culture. Consider who can assist you in achieving your goals. It's important to have an individual in your life who you can trust and rely on for guidance. To receive the most unbiased advice possible, consider seeking out someone without any hidden motives. For instance, if finances are a heavy factor of your family's livelihood, don't confide in your partner as they may be biased by their vested interest. Reach out instead to friends, relatives, mentors or former coworkers who could offer more impartial counsel. Decide if you need to leave the company. After taking a long, hard look and doing some soul-searching, you may come to the conclusion that it's time for a change and you need to find a new job. If you find yourself feeling overwhelmed or lacking in emotional energy when considering new career paths, make sure to practice self-care and take time off from work if needed. A toxic work environment can be draining, both mentally and emotionally. If you feel like you're in a toxic workplace, it's important to take steps to try and improve the situation. By being aware of the signs of a toxic workplace, and how to handle them effectively, you can make a positive change in your office environment. Sign up for our newsletter at the link in this video's description for tips on improving your career delivered to your inbox, and stay tuned for more expert career tips.